Welcome out to It's All Been Done Radio Hour. This week we have a new episode of Morning Show for you. Before we get to that, though, let me tell you about Red Herring Theater, our new host performance space. Circle 270 Media, which this podcast is a part of, and It's All Been Done Presents, our wonderful parent network. It produces podcasts, written work, video, and more. And you can check it out at IABD Presents, which just got a cool new redesign. Pretty groovy. Also, follow us on social media at IABD Presents. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on Facebook, there's a separate It's All Been Done Radio Hour page. And now, without further ado, It's All Been Done Radio Hour.
Our next feature today is Morning Show. Morning Show is a morning radio program in Columbus, Ohio. Its producer is Shelley Meyers.
Yeah, okay. 30 seconds to air.
Host Pat Schock embraces the hard-hitting news the show has become.
1 second. Just need to polish my opening.
While co-host Gus Goodall wishes they'd stuck to comedy.
Well, she said you had 30 seconds, Pat, so yes, you got one.
Previously on Morning Show, the program exposed the crimes of Mayor Regina Hayes, an associate of the station's boss, Brooks Dillon. Shelley agreed to meet weekly with Brooks to go over her stories. Also, there was a virus outbreak in which the infected resembled zombies on the West Coast, which has now spread to Mexico. Today's episode, Options. We begin with Shelley and Brooks meeting in his office.
And so that is what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, that all sounds fine. How do you do it?
Do what?
Get your information. You've had 6 major breaking stories since you started the show.
Yeah. You know us journalists, we don't reveal our sources.
You're not a journal. I'm sorry. You are, aren't you?
Yes.
Shelley, have you ever thought about doing something beyond news?
What do you mean?
I admit, I wasn't a fan when you first hijacked my show and made it something completely different than what we agreed upon. But you've done very well for me, for the station. I know a lot of people who could use someone with your drive, intelligence, and dedication.
Use me how?
As a consultant or a manager.
Like a campaign manager?
Perhaps. Now, I don't want to leave, but I also don't think you're going to be satisfied in this position for very long. So if I can help you move on to that next phase.
I'll be honest, I hadn't considered a next phase. I want to make the best morning show possible. And beyond that,
Never thought of taking things to a national scale? Ever?
Well, of course, but through a show like this, not in any other way.
Now, I'd say you were bluffing, but you seem genuinely taken aback by the question.
I am.
That surprises me. I assumed you'd covered every angle. Guess even the great Shelley Meyers has blind spots.
Don't we all?
Yes. Tell you what, why don't I take you to one of my networking events this Thursday evening? Dress fancy. I'll make some introductions. You can talk to some people, and then we'll go from there.
I'm flattered, really, but I'm really not looking to leave my job.
You don't have to. In fact, I'd prefer it if you didn't. But it's my business to know people, and it may not be today, but I don't think you're going to be content sticking around here forever. When you leave, I'd like to be the one to facilitate that.
All right. Thursday. Where and when?
Meanwhile, downstairs in the studio, Gus and Pat await Shelley's return so they can plan tomorrow's broadcast.
I hope she's not in trouble again.
Trouble? Are you kidding me? Brooks Dillon loves her now. Don't you hear the way he talks about her? He probably is just offering her his job.
I don't trust that man. He's always struck me as a phony.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the problem.
What are you talking about, Gus?
You're probably worried he's asking her out.
What? Why would I be worried about that?
Because you like Shelley.
I do not.
You do so. Come on, man. Pat and Shelley sitting in a tree.
What is this, high school?
Listen, Why don't you just ask her to dinner?
We work together. It would be inappropriate.
What?
Haven't you ever heard of workplace harassment?
No, she's your boss, Pat. It would be inappropriate for her to ask you, not the other way around, man. Get it?
It can make things awkward.
Oh my God, absolutely. And that's why I haven't said anything before now. But listen, I'm tired of watching those long glances you cast at her direction through the booth window.
Gus, this is a place of business.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Stop. Shelley's going to be back any minute.
And are you going to ask her out?
No,
Chicken.
I'm not chicken.
You said it was inappropriate. You never said you weren't interested.
Shut up.
Shelley, we were just talking about you, my friend.
Oh, good stuff, I hope.
Oh, yes. Wouldn't you say, Pat? Very, very good.
What?
Ignore him. What did Dylan want?
Nothing, just the usual. You know him. Did you two already go over the rundown while you were waiting for me?
What do you think?
I could replace you in a second. I dream about it. I literally dream about it. With what we've done, lots of people would just love to have your job.
And yet, my charm is unique and rare.
Oh, fine. Let's get it over. Let's go over it.
All right. Sounds good to me. Page 1. Oh, an introduction. How original.
Pat, you okay?
Huh?
You seem a little bit distracted. Is everything all right?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Well, let's dig in then, shall we?
Thursday evening.
Oh, you showed up. I was beginning to think you weren't going to.
Me too.
Well, let's start with Roger Lark. He's right over here.
Shelley Meyers.
Hello, Aidan. Fancy seeing you here.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley, this is Roger.
Shelley Meyers. I've heard of you.
You have?
Of course.
Well, that makes sense. Tell me, why haven't you and your fellow members of the city council pushed out Mayor Hayes yet for her crimes?
Shelley.
As you know, that's not within our powers.
Yes, I know. City Code Section 46.2 states the clerk would schedule the recall election, but he's got the petition with the needed signatures, so why hasn't he scheduled it?
He will. But in case you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of quite the crisis.
Roger, I apologize. I really...
Don't apologize, Brooks. This young lady knows her stuff. That's always appreciated.
Funny you bring that up, Shelley, as Roger and I were just discussing the recall right before you interrupted us.
You were?
Yes, I was trying to convince Roger to run to fill the mayor's desk.
That's an interesting idea. You have the track record with the city. What would be the primary issues on your platform?
I haven't even agreed to run.
Sure, but you had to have thought about it.
You seem to know a lot about me. What do you think my issues should be?
Well, anyone running right now needs to be tough on security and local rule, but a lot of your work has been in social services. So I would say that you would probably be petitioning the federal government for financial assistance with refugee resettling, but wanting to keep the management of it for yourself.
Interesting.
I was just telling Roger that healthcare would be an ideal platform. With the residents so concerned about another outbreak on U.S. soil, we should be prepared in case it happens here.
Sure, but it won't.
How can you know that? We don't know what caused the virus in the first place, or how it continued to spread even after nuclear weapons were dropped in the infected area.
Yes, but there are a lot of people and a handful of states between us and the infected. We would have warning, and we'd want to see how others handle it first. The only thing we'd need to do anytime soon is lock down.
That won't keep the population calm.
That's because they are sheep. But if we have a good leader, I'm sure she or he could say something that would keep them at bay.
You don't have a very high opinion of the people you serve.
You don't know how right you are.
I'm not a public servant.
But journalists are public servants. Now, true, many don't act like it, but at the end of the day, the job you're doing is to serve the people.
I don't think Shelly really cares about anyone but herself.
Be nice, Aidan.
The people have to take personal responsibility to educate themselves. I do my best to get the appropriate information in front of them, but at the end of the day, I'm just giving them the facts, and they have to take it from there.
Well said, Shelley. Excuse us, Councilman Lark. Aidan, we've got to make the rounds.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Ms. Meyers. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
Oh, you are? I don't usually come to these types of parties.
We can tell.
Not a party. It's a networking event.
You might want to work on getting a little more comfortable, Shelley, because I think you'll be making more frequent appearances.
I'm not so sure.
Trust me, you will.
See you later.
You don't seem to care much for Shelley, Aidan.
She has her admirable qualities, sure, but, well, I just don't trust her.
You don't understand her.
No, I really don't. I mean, do you?
I'm not sure yet, but I'd like to find out.
I have connections at her show. Would you like me to set up a lunch for you?
I think I can handle my own schedule. Thank you very much.
Of course, sir. I didn't mean to imply otherwise.
Certainly. Now, what were you saying about healthcare? Will Shelley be drawn into local politics? Will Pat muster up the courage to ask her out? Come back to find out in more stories from Morning Show.
It's all been on Radio Hour, number 311, Morning Show, Episode 8, Options. This episode was written by Jerome Wetzel and directed by Samantha Stark. It starred Shelley Meyers, played by Kristin Green, Pat Schock, played by Keith Jackson, Gus Goodall, played by Nathan Haley, Brooks Dillon, played by Ryan Yohe, Aidan Pearson, played by Shane Stefanchik, Roger Lark, played by Darren Esler. This episode was narrated by Darren Esler, and our Foley artist is Seamus Talty. Our technical director is Shane Stefanchik. Our music director is Kristin Green. Theme songs are composed by Nathan Haley with lyrics by Jerome Wetzel. This podcast is edited by Chris Allen. Check out our website at IABDpresents.com, and don't forget to support us on patreon.com/IABD. A mere $2 donation gets you access to past and upcoming live stream shows, as well as exclusive bloopers and video. Have a great week.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?